How am I doing? Obviously, it's your boy Mr. TV. I'm back again. Come on. Have you failed your driving test so many times you feel like giving up? Well, guess what? You're not alone. I'm back to my usual spot, back to the place where I did my first ever video. This video was requested by a friend of mine who I'm not going to mention his name, and he's one of the most hardest working people that I know. Going back into my video, I'll be talking about my driving test. With my driving test, I failed 4 times, and I have no shame in it saying I failed, because obviously that's where we get to learn. Now, when it comes to driving, it is one of the most frustrating thing that you might have to go through in your life, because some of you might pass first time, but others, it will take them long to pass, just like myself. People actually don't realize this, but you actually spend a lot of money when it comes to driving. Some people have actually spent so much money, they've even spent about £5,000 just when they're driving alone. And that includes theory, that includes practical tests, that includes resets. But my recommendation is, if you failed your test over 10 times, I think right now you need to start looking for alternatives, and probably start looking at Boris' bike and make sure that's your best friend, because I'll be honest with you, after 10 times, if you continue going, well done to you. There came to a point in my life where I failed my driving test. I think this was about the 2nd or 3rd occasion of trying to pass it. And when I failed my driving test, I was looking for alternatives, and I considered 2 options. One of them was to go to a place where the pass rate was higher, and so I was ready to even go there for like a week, do an intensive course, and then try and pass it there. Second option came about when I went to football, and as I was playing football, on my way back from football, I heard some people saying you can pay this person an amount, and what they will do is they will pass you without your driving test. So after spending so much money, I thought, wow, that is a brilliant idea. And I thought, it will save me a lot of money. So what happened was, obviously I inquired more information about it, and then when I spoke to the person, they said, all you have to do is pay a certain amount of money. They know someone in the DVLA, somehow they will go through the system and put past it, and all you have to do is come and collect your certificate. And at first my mind was just like, you know what, this is so dodgy. But then what happened is, the guy that I'd said to do the test with, he said, you pay a little bit of amount, and the day you're going to collect your certificate, you just pay the rest of the amount. I thought, okay, you know what, to start off with, that's a good idea. Because it was so dodgy in the sense that the way it was going to be done or conducted, I was thinking to myself, there are already people there that will be at the test centre that will be waiting for their test. They've not seen me enter before, and they just see me come and collect my certificate. Another thing as well is, it would have been better if I sat in the car with the examiner, I did a little driving and he just passed me, then it'll make it more realistic. I did pay that small amount to say I'm interested, but then for the next 3-4 days, I couldn't even sleep. It was just constant thinking about it. What if this happened? There was something critical that changed my mind, and this was when I called up a friend of mine, and he said, you know what, why are you in a rush to do your driving test? What are you rushing for? The people that you're rushing to do your driving test, especially those people that are putting a lot of pressure on you to complete your driving test, if something happens and you get in trouble, you are the one that's going to face this. As soon as I heard this, I just saw the guy say, listen, I'm not interested anymore. I'd rather go back and try and get my driving test done in the proper way. And that's exactly what I tried to do. If you're still watching this video, then leave a like and ensure you subscribe. Let's get into the driving test. Before the driving test, you need to pass a theory test, and this theory test consists of 2 things. One of them is a multiple choice question, and the other one is hazard perception. Now with the hazard perception, all you have to do is you have to click anytime you see danger. If you fail your hazard and perception, you need to start looking for something new to do, because you shouldn't be realistically failing your hazard perception, because literally anything that you consider dangerous, such as people walking in front of your car, you should be clicking then. But if you can't spot any danger and you're still hesitating, start looking for alternatives. So buy a bike, buy a scooter, look for alternatives. Let's go back to the multiple choice question. With the multiple choice questions, it's not difficult, but the answers are very similar. So you start to think, whoa, is this the right answer? What you need to do in the multiple choice question, you need to choose the best answer that is suited to that question. On the actual practical driving test, you are allowed 15 minors Now minors could be something such as you not checking the mirrors when you're moving off. But if you get too many minors, what will happen is it will automatically turn into a major. And if you get one major, you automatically fail the test. When you are on the driving test, there's some certain actions or keywords that the examiners say that makes a lot of difference. When you hear, unfortunately, I'm sorry, I wish you all the best in the future, these are all indications that you failed your test. Also, if the examiner holds the steering wheel or presses the brakes, your test is done. All you're just doing now for the rest of the test is just donating your money towards the DVLA. You might as well set up a GoFundMe page because you're never getting that money back. So best thing is just enjoy the rest of your test. Start Googling in your head when your next test is, because that money is gone. Let's get into my test. Now the first test that I did was in a manual car. My instructor kept on telling me that, oh, I'm not ready. The thing about instructors is you gotta be careful about them. They're the biggest legal scams in the world, because they'll keep telling you you're not ready, praying and hoping that you keep booking lessons. The more you book lessons, the more money for them. And you know what, I just had enough of my instructor telling me I'm not ready. So what I did was I told him I booked the test, I'm going through it. With the test, I wasn't that confident on the test, but I said to myself, I said, listen, if it goes well, then good luck to me. And if it doesn't go well, it's another learning opportunity for me. So certain things you have to do before you even enter the car. One of them is you have to read a car's number plate. There's also something called show me, tell me questions. I've done everything right. As I enter the car, my examiner walks around the car, checks that everything is working well. The examiner will tell you, when you enter your car, get ready to move off. I entered my car, I've done my seatbelt, I've checked that everything's ready, I put the ignition on, and I'm ready. The examiner walks into the car, he says, when you're ready, move off. So now, I've done my little checks, checking the mirror, check that everything is right. I started to move off, and I'm driving brilliantly. If you saw the way I was driving, I was just cruising my way. I'm driving well. I'm even speaking to the examiner saying, yo, how's your day? He's telling me he's got a daughter in Brighton, and I was thinking to myself, wow, this is going really brilliant. Thinking to myself as well, there's that instructor that told me I couldn't do it. Everything is going well. 10 minutes into the test, no minors, no majors. So I'm thinking, wow, this is going brilliant. This is when everything now changed. This is when I knew the examiner wasn't my friend anymore. Because he told me, he said, at the next junction, turn left. When he said, at the next junction, turn left, that is when my test finished. Because of the talking I was doing with the examiner, I got carried away. As I've turned left, I've missed my little spot, which I was meant to wait for a bus driver to come through. This road that I turned left into is a two-way road. Because there's parked cars either side, only one car or one vehicle can go in at a time. Me and the bus driver were now looking at each other, who's gonna give way? In my mind, I'm praying that, please, give me way. Because when it comes to reversing, I'm not the greatest at reversing. So I didn't really want to reverse, I just wanted to go forward. But because the bus was already in halfway, it was me that had to give way. My leg was just moving like this. So, and I'm there thinking to myself, geez, I'm gonna have to reverse here. So I looked in the middle mirror, behind me, just pile of cars. And I'm thinking, wow, this is madness. I knew already, I can't reverse. I'm not good at reversing. So I tried my best to reverse. I'm struggling. The examiner knows I'm struggling, but he didn't want to intervene too quickly. And I was thinking to myself, the key word. If this guy touches the steering wheel, if he touches the steering wheel, it's over. I've just donated my money to the DVLA. For that reason, I'm struggling, trying to make sure I reverse. Back to that spot. It came to a point, cars just started beeping behind me. As soon as he grabbed that steering wheel, I just said, yo, it's over. It's over. He grabbed the steering wheel, he fixed it for me, and then after that I just said, you know what, let me just enjoy the rest of my driving. Let me enjoy it. I thought that was it. As we are on our way back to the test center, my examiner said to me, at the roundabout, take the second exit. The second exit in this roundabout is just going straight. So what I've done is I've looked on the right hand side to check that there's no car coming. and I was in third gear, so I've changed it to second gear so that I don't have to stop. As I'm about to move off from the roundabout, a car just out of nowhere just sped through at the roundabout, and the examiner just smashed that brakes. My head was just like, was just like this. After that, I just knew, you know what, test, that's done. My second test was also done in a manual car. The thing about my second test was, it was raining, and as soon as it was raining, I knew that was a bad sign that I failed this test. I've never done any of my lessons in the rain before, so it was too hard for me to adapt myself to the rain. For that reason, there were certain signs that were just missing. I don't really remember what happened too much, but I also failed that test. The third test, I remember the third test very, very well. The third test, I changed my instructor and I had someone new. So when I called up the company, I asked for a manual car, but when they came, they bought an automatic car. Because I booked a 1 week intensive course, I thought to myself, you know what, just go with it, because my test day is near. First 5 minutes of driving an automatic car, I just said bye-bye to manual, bye-bye to manual. Automatic was so easy, and also it gave me more time to focus on the road rather than focusing on changing gears, changing this, and it meant I could just drive smoothly. The test went really well. I did everything right, but I think on one of the roads, it was a giveaway sign. I meant to stop and I missed it because there was no cars on the road, so I just kept on going, and the examiner failed me through there. The thing about an automatic license is, if you pass in an automatic, you can't drive a manual car. If you pass in a manual car, you can drive manual and automatic. So my fourth test was also very memorable. With this test, I was going there with a lot of confidence. Because I went into the test and the examiner told me, read the number plate, do the show me, tell me questions. So I've done everything, I sat in the car and I'm going. This examiner, it felt as if she purposely wanted me to fail. I'm doing everything right, I did the reversing right. I remember, I always struggle on reversing. But this occasion, this test, I did the reversing. I had a strong feeling within myself that, you know what, I've passed this test. So all I needed to do now was just continue driving the way I'm driving, and then I'm expecting, congratulations, you've done this test. On our way back to the test center, I'm driving nicely. I'm the only person on the road. Either side of the road is just me by myself. As I'm driving, a woman, oh, this woman, God, she wanted to cross the road. Obviously, I've already spotted her, so what I did was I was pressing the brake slowly, hoping that before I get to her, she would have crossed the road and I could just release the brake and continue going. As I'm pressing the brakes, the woman, for some reason, she doesn't want to cross the road. She now stood in the middle of the road. So as I got close to her, I pressed the brakes, I stopped, I let her go. After she crossed the road fully, I looked, I checked my mirrors, and I made sure everything was alright. Then I drove off. We get back to the test center. I was about to shake her hand that, thank you very much, so can I have my pass paper? She said, unfortunately. And when I heard those key words, I was like, what? I was very confused. So I said to the woman, I said, why? She said, unfortunately, you didn't pass this test because when you stopped for the woman, you didn't look at the mirrors properly. What do you mean I didn't look at the mirrors properly? I checked all the mirrors, checked everything, checked middle, left, right, made sure everything was alright. Plus, I'm the only person in the middle of the road, so how can you tell me I didn't look at the mirrors properly? I was so angry. But then I said to my instructor, I said, listen, I'm going to come back again and we're going to do this test again because I'm destined to pass my next test. It's just a matter of time. Out of all the tests I did and I failed, the one that hurt me the most was my fourth test, because that one, I had a good feeling that I should have passed that test. But you know what? Things like that happen. To wrap up, when it comes to driving, some of you are going to pass first time, some of you are going to take longer to pass. But you have to keep going. Some of you are going to start looking for alternatives to pass either the practical or the theory test. But trust me, either one of them, don't give up. Driving is going to cost a lot of time, especially because you have to watch a lot of videos and it's going to cost a lot of money. Final word for you is, if the plan is not working, change the plan, not the goal. And in this situation, if manual is not working, try and do automatic. And if both of them don't work, best thing is buy a bike, or even better, buy an electric scooter and save yourself the stress. It's your boy Mr. CV. I hope you really enjoy this. If you are thinking about your driving, or you failed your driving, don't give up. Keep going. Have a blessed day, and remember, stay alert and control the virus.